Imagine buying an old abandoned house that has been sitting untouched for 30 years. The windows are covered in dust, the paint is peeling away, the backyard has turned into a forest of weeds, and everyone in town knows the place, but nobody ever goes near it. Not because it is falling apart, but because there is a story behind it. A rumor that something inside the house was never meant to be found. For 3 decades, the house stayed completely silent. No lights turned on, no footsteps echoed through the halls, and no one opened the front door. It was like time had stopped. But one day, a new owner decided to take a chance and buy the forgotten property. At first, everything seemed normal. The house was filled with old furniture, faded family pictures, and personal belongings covered in layers of dust. It looked like the people who lived there had simply walked away and never returned. But while exploring the house, the new owner discovered something strange hidden away inside. A locked basement door that had been untouched for decades. A door that nobody had opened in 30 years. And behind that door was a secret that would completely change the history of the house. Every town has a place like this, a house that people drive past but rarely talk about. The kind of place with broken windows, an overgrown yard, and a story that becomes more mysterious every year. This house was once completely different. When it was first built in the early 1900s, it was considered one of the nicest homes in the area. It had beautiful wooden floors, a large front porch, and enough space for a family to grow up comfortably. For years, it was filled with life. Children ran through the hallways, families celebrated holidays, and memories were created inside those walls. Old photographs showed a happy home, nothing like the abandoned building people saw decades later. But eventually, everything changed. The last family who lived there suddenly left. Nobody knew exactly why. Some neighbors believed they moved away because of personal problems. Others claimed something happened inside the house that caused them to leave everything behind. The strangest part was that they didn't take much with them. Furniture remained exactly where it was. Clothes were still inside closets. Books were left on shelves. It looked almost like they expected to come back one day, but they never did. As the years passed, the house became forgotten. The grass grew taller, the walls started cracking, and nature slowly began taking over. Eventually, people stopped asking questions. The house became another abandoned building that everyone ignored. Then, after nearly 30 years of sitting empty, the property was finally put up for sale. Most people weren't interested. The repairs would cost a fortune, and the house looked like it needed years of work. But one person saw something different. Instead of seeing an old broken building, they saw a chance to restore a piece of history. After purchasing the house, the new owner started cleaning and repairing the rooms. At first, it seemed like a normal renovation project. They removed old furniture, cleaned years of dust, and opened windows that had been closed for decades. Slowly, the forgotten house started coming back to life. But during the cleanup, the owner noticed something unusual. A basement door hidden behind old furniture and covered with years of dirt. It looked like someone had gone out of their way to make sure nobody found it. When the owner tried opening the door, it wouldn't move. The lock was old and covered in rust. After some effort, they finally managed to open it. The moment the door opened, cold air rushed out from the darkness below. The basement was completely black. Dust floated through the air, and the walls were covered in stains from decades of being untouched. But the strangest thing wasn't what was there. It was what wasn't there. There were no signs that anyone had been inside recently. No footprints, no damage, no evidence that anyone had entered for years. It was like the basement had been frozen in time. As the owner walked deeper into the room, they noticed something sitting in the corner, an old wooden box covered in dust. Inside were documents, photographs, and personal items from the previous owners. But one thing immediately caught their attention. An old handwritten journal. At first, the journal seemed normal. It contained everyday thoughts, family memories, and notes about life inside the house. But as the pages continued, the writing started to change. The entries became darker and more mysterious. The person who wrote the journal began describing strange things happening around the house. They mentioned hearing noises coming from empty rooms, finding objects moved from where they had been left, and discovering things they couldn't explain. Then the journal started talking about something hidden underneath the house, something that the writer believed nobody else should have seen.